Etsy multiple accounts, how do we go about this? So there's like a few different ways. I mean, so the way Etsy works is you can just make multiple accounts. You are allowed to run multiple accounts under like one person. The only thing you actually have to like technically change is just the email address, and you can just run a million accounts if you want to. But essentially the way that you do this, the way you do it basically is you just try and insulate every account as much as humanly possible. So what I mean by this is you have like separate banking information, you have like IP, ads power, like you have everything separate as humanly possible, and you change every piece of information so that Etsy can't track you across multiple different accounts. So the reason why you do this is because if one account gets banned and you have all of them under, let's say, the same bank account, then all of them are going to get banned. So that's why you separate them out like that, essentially. So that's really the best piece of advice that I can give you, is just make sure everything's as separate as humanly possible. In need of quick revenue / profits, what is the best strategy? Already have an Etsy account for a couple weeks, months. So, I mean, in terms of like quick money, the best ones are, I must say lighting is probably the best for quick money. Like legal quick money on Etsy in terms of being fully above board and not doing things that are copyrighted. Not doing things that are copyrighted. So, yeah, I think that helps, right? So if you sell within that niche, it's going to be very easy to make money quickly, but it's not going to have that longevity that other niches have, where they can go for a year, 2 years, 3 years. Lighting is a niche that is heavily targeted and is a hot niche, is what I like to call a hot niche. Is that the only way? What, for multiple accounts? So with multiple accounts, you can make them any way you want to, but the best way to do it is so they're completely and utterly separate. Any ways of going around KYC when creating an account? There's still certain, I assume by KYC you mean like the ID stuff that they've started to bring in. Yeah, of course, there's loads of ways to get around this. It depends if you want to do like a legal way or a not so legal way. But yeah, the KYC system that they have isn't really that good. Obviously, they're using like Persona, something like that in the UK. There's ways to get around that. I'm sure you can do some research and find ways to get around that. But I can't really talk about that on like a YouTube live stream in terms of like legality stuff. But yeah, I mean, you can just open up accounts where they don't have that stuff just yet. Because not every location in the entire world has that KYC stuff yet. So yeah, I think that's what you mean, right? But I heard someone say they ran 10 stores and they all flopped. That kind of threw me off. If someone ran 10 stores and they all flopped, that person was a retard. Simple as. It's like genuinely, like it's impossible for 10 stores to flop if you do the right things. And I'm not talking about like doing some crazy stuff, and I'm not even talking about taking it really advanced and like really putting like a lot of effort into it. I'm not even talking about like you have to be inside my program Etsy Kings, but like if you start 10 stores and they all don't work, that's not Etsy's fault, that's the person's fault for being an idiot. Because if you're doing 10 different stores and you list one product every single day, and those 10 stores are in 10 different niches, it's literally impossible to not make money. Like, it's literally impossible to not make money. And what do you mean by flopped? Or is it like they got zero sales? Because like that person was literally brain dead. They must have been put in like I can't comprehend that not working. Like, I'm not saying that person should have made £10,000 profit their first month, but if with 10 stores, if you don't make $500 profit in your first month, you have an IQ of 12. Maybe that was a bit mean because you're saying, bro, I heard someone. Maybe that was you, but yeah, I don't know. How can I effectively analyze and interpret dashboard data to understand product performance without ads, especially with significant variability in views? Yeah, I felt like you added so many different words to that, it's just not needed. So first things first, just run ads. Honestly, it's a hack. It just works so much better. Run ads. Way better than doing just pure organic. And in terms of like analyzing and interpret dashboard data, it's very difficult to have it's very difficult to analyze organic data on Etsy when the store's brand new because you're not going to get any views. So it's just going to take a long time before you actually have good enough data when you can start optimizing your store. That's why I say to run ads. You don't have to run crazy amount of ads. $5 a day, $3, even like $1 a day, you can kind of get away with. It's just going to take you a longer period of time. Really, $5 is the kind of sweet spot where you're not spending loads. Everyone should be able to afford it if you're in the first world and you have a job. Yeah, like if you're in the first world and you have a job, just spend $5 a day. It's worth it. Like it just completely and utterly is worth it. So yeah, I don't know. Basically, it's kind of impossible to. It is impossible to analyze organic data on Etsy when the store's brand new and if you have like 0 sales. Even if you have 20 sales on the store, it's still quite difficult to do it because you just don't have enough impressions to actually be able to come in and properly analyze it. Yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Like, just run ads. Just run ads. Have you ever tried selling lamps on Shopify? Just dropship? If then, have you tried to do more branding? I've sold lighting on Shopify. Lighting works well on Shopify. To be honest, I've sold a lot of different lighting stuff. I don't know if I've specifically done... Yeah, no, I've sold lamps. I mean, it depends what the definition of a lamp is. But yeah. Just dropship if then you have tried to do some more branding. So the best way to do Shopify dropshipping, in my opinion, what I've seen the most results with, and what I've, my friends that have made 5M plus with dropshipping, they all go down the route of branded dropshipping in terms of they don't try and create a brand and kid themselves that they can buy bulk stock and do all this stuff, but they brand the product as much as they possibly can, in terms of trying to make everything as legitimate and as good as possible. So doing a nice logo, having a nice website, having a nice Instagram, Facebook, posting all these different pieces of content and trying to make it as good as humanly possible and brand it as much as possible. It's not like a real brand where they're buying bulk stock and they're developing their own products and they're going down that route, but they're trying to make it as branded as possible. So yeah, I think that makes sense, right? Is home decoration better niche than garden decoration? Now that we're nearing the end of summer, 100% yes. So it's the end of August now. So really we're nearing the end of garden items being good. Obviously Australia still has their summer and stuff and you can still get sales from there. But it's better to focus on items inside of the home in autumn, winter, even really spring in most locations. But yeah, we're basically in winter. I mean, in the UK at least. So yeah, focus on inside the house. How much is it join Etsy Kings? So go click the link in the description of this video, apply at etsykings.com, apply, and then they'll tell you how much it is. But it's not a cheap program. If you start 10 stores and you genuinely put a bit of effort into it, how easy it is to just make some money. I'm not saying you're going to make millions, because obviously it takes real work and knowledge and figuring all these things out to make a lot of money. But if you have 10 stores you put effort in, it's literally impossible not to. It's just the way to think about it, the way I like to think about it is purely supply and demand. If you look at the Etsy platform, there's very little people doing the Etsy platform correctly in terms of dropship products. Whereas if you look at something like Shopify dropshipping 5 years ago, the reason why it was a lot easier 5 years ago is purely because there wasn't many people doing it really well. Whereas if you look at Shopify dropshipping now, obviously there's still loads of money to be made there, but it just takes so much more effort to make the same money that you would have done 5 years ago, because there's so many more intelligent people on the platform. Whereas with Etsy, there's so few actually intelligent sellers on the platform, it's just kind of easy, basically. Yeah, and literally just start. I feel like with Etsy, there's a money limit too compared to Shopify dropshipping. Yeah, literally just start. Wave is saying, literally just start. That's the thing. That is some people's objection to starting Etsy dropshipping. I'm not going to be able to make tens of millions, so I don't want to start. It's that doesn't matter, and you also don't know what you're able to do. I mean, the biggest Etsy store is Caitlin Minimalist by the amount of orders. I think they just crossed over 3 million unique orders. They've done over $80-90 million in revenue. So it's there are big players, but it's obviously a much smaller percentage. But it doesn't really matter. That's the thing, is a lot of people focus on trying to do trying to beat the world record for sprinting and sprinting 100 meters before they can even fucking walk, you know? You're trying to run a marathon and you can't even like walk 10 meters yet. It's like, worry about walking 10 meters, worry about making your first 50, 100 grand online, or even your first $1,000 online, and then figure out how to make millions down the road. When I started dropshipping, I wasn't worried about making millions of dollars. I was just thinking, okay, I can make a bit of money and I'm going to learn a bunch of useful skills. In the future, I'm going to make more money because I'm learning all these cool skills now. So it's like, don't try and run, you're just going to fucking trip yourself up. Is it bad to just focus on one store and put your all into it? Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I would have 3 stores minimum, if not really 5 stores. Purely from a point of just not putting all your eggs into one basket. Let's say you go into the niche of selling floor lamps, lighting. Let's say you're in the lighting niche and it just doesn't work for you. You've just got unlucky with the products that you've chosen. The first 50 products you choose are just shit. You just got incredibly unlucky. But then you put all that time and effort into that. Rather than listing 50 products on one store, it's better to spread your time across like 3 stores and list 16 products per store across those 3 stores, because you have a higher chance of finding a winning niche and kind of finding a winning product as well. So you don't want to put all your eggs into one basket and focus too much on one specific niche or one specific store, because you just all your eggs in one basket, you know? When you do product research, find a hot product, then try to copy it, but can't source it anywhere for cheaper, what do? It's a good question. So the most practical advice, like the easiest advice I can give you there is find a similar item. So let's say you found this really cool pen on Etsy and it's really hot selling, but you can't find a supplier that's actually selling it at a good price, or you can't really find it like what you want it as, okay? Just find something similar. Like, it's really the best way to do it, because you know that specific niche and that specific aesthetic is already working on that product. So just find something similar and sell that. That's really the best way to do it, because it could even work better than that pre-existing product. You're not directly competing against that product then, and you have more upside. Like, yeah. I sell garden decor on Etsy, wind chimes, garden figures, etc. I want to switch as my product's going into Q4. What is your recommendation for winter Q4 products? I mean, every Christmas thing ever. In terms of like wind chimes and stuff, I would personally start a new store. I would list some products that are like winter related on that same store, but my focus would not be on that store. I would kind of leave that store a little bit more relaxed, and I'd focus on a new store, trying to build that up, specifically focusing on winter stuff. So that's one thing I would say. But in terms of winter Q4 products, there's so many. I mean, the kind of perfect stuff for you is to combine like the garden decor and Christmas stuff together. So things like wreaths, like the bushes people put on their door. That's the perfect thing, like literally perfect thing. Because then you're combining garden decor and also Christmas related stuff. So you're going to be able to use the algorithm to push. The algorithm that's already on your store wants more garden products. So if you then list something that's Christmas related, you're going to be able to do that. I mean, anything Christmas related that is still within your niche is literally perfect. List it. Like Christmas gnomes and garden lights and Christmassy lights for outside. There's so many different things. The little Santa signs, like Santa's coming here and all this kind of shit. There's so much stuff you can do here, actually. Tips of making my dropshipping store last more long term. I mean, the things that you're doing in terms of like changing pictures is probably the most important thing. Not focusing on a hot niche, having the correct back-end setup is important. I don't know. There's so many different things like this. I feel like one manual review is enough to get me banned. I mean, if you're calling your store decent, which a few thousand orders, then you probably have already had a manual review. So yeah. Are bans still currently high on Etsy, especially with all the updates they're making? To be honest, no. There was periods in the last year where they were a lot higher and a lot harsher than they are now. I would kind of say it's pretty chill right now, to be honest. If you're doing stuff the right way, it's very chill in terms of bans. Like we really have not seen much, to be honest. And even like inside Etsy Kings and stuff, like really haven't seen that much in the past like month. There's been periods where it's like harsh. Right now it's pretty chill. Would you start all three together and get a bit of traction on one and then start the second and third? I would start all three together. I just started 3 stores today that I'm going to use for a case study, and I'm going to put it on this YouTube channel as well. How long should I run my ad on my product with 1.4% click rate and 0 sales? So if it's reached $15 in ad spend and it's made 0 sales, whether it's directly through advertising or through organic, you want to cut it, you want to turn it off. So $15 on that specific product. The thing is with online business, the reason why everyone fails, or most people do fail, is because they don't stick with it long enough. So if you just stick with something, if you don't care about the results, in terms of if you don't really care about the money, and you remove your emotional connection to earning money from it, and you purely just look at it like, okay, I'm going to go to university. I'm going to put 3 years into this. I'm going to figure it out, and I'm just going to try and learn as much as humanly possible and learn practical skills. Then you're going to come out of it after the 3 years having earned a bunch of money and learn a bunch of skills. So it's almost like if you don't focus too much on the actual results, it's easier to get the results. That's what worked for me. Yeah, that's what worked for me. I just looked at my first couple of years in business as like, okay, everyone I know is going to university. They're going to come out of it in debt and have learned very little practical skills, if no practical skills. Whereas after these 3 years, I'm going to have come out of it, at minimum, learned a bunch and maybe earned some money. And I came out of it like literally a millionaire. So yeah, maybe that helps. Have you ever tried running a general store on Etsy? I know niche down is key, but this has been a thought of me for such a long time, especially for testing and whether something just hits just niche it. General store on Etsy. Yeah, so I have tried it previously and it kind of works. Like you do get sales, but I just found it difficult to actually scale the store like beyond like 10 a month. And I just found it better to like actually reach that level of scale. It's just always better to just niche down. But yeah, you can niche down. You can do like the Shopify thing where you're doing a general store, you're mass testing. But I just think it's better to focus on niche down. That's what I do. Different Etsy accounts require different IDs, sometimes proof of residency. How do you get all that every time you want to test a new niche? It's very easy to be honest. I don't know. Signers. There's methods basically. I don't know. You can use signers. I mean, like, yeah, that's what we used to do back, like, let's say like 2 years ago. We used mass amounts of signers. And I mean, I have like 100 people's details, like obviously all legally and with their permission and stuff, and we pay them, and yeah, it's kind of that simple. But everyone has like 5 friends or family members that you can ask for details, and you can do it like this. Are the 3 stores different accounts and bank accounts? Yes, that's what you want to do.